Hello and welcome to True Crime Rocket Science, the most authentic voice in true crime. We know that Kaitlin went on a few dates when she was in Costa Rica with a surfer dude called Teal Akerson. Tomorrow, July 20th, Kaitlin may have a very different date with a Texas court. In this episode, we're going to do a deep dive into Kaitlin Armstrong's finances, certainly deeper than we have before, following the financial breadcrumbs. But before we get to that, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Like, share, leave a comment. Remember, you can hit the thanks icon if you're enjoying this content as well. And let's get started. So the true crime community in the trenches at Web Sleuths have been working hard to piece together some of Kaitlin's legal and financial backstory. We've also recently learned that Kaitlin didn't pay her bus fare while in Costa Rica. If she'd been caught, right? If she'd been caught not paying her bus fare, she could have been confronted by law enforcement there and then for the offense and caught lickety-split. This failure to pay the little things harkens back to the $650 Botox bill she also skipped. Now, I often say not all liars are murderers, but all murderers are liars. And that's a simple way of saying by the time a murder is committed, 1,000 small deceptions have gotten out of hand. It might be thefts, lies, just little manipulations, small little dishonesties that pile onto one another. And it's also getting away with each one, leading the deceiver to think that they can get away with anything and also everything. Let's face it, we live in a society where it feels like people are constantly getting away with unacceptable behavior. Even if you look at the climate, for how many years have they been saying the climate is changing, people continue doing what they do, and then eventually when it does change, then it's like, oh, but it's basically been a situation where we've gotten away with our behavior, all of us, for a long, long time. And then it takes a very, very long time for reality to catch up. And when it does, it seems to be a shock. So these crimes that are committed by other people, right, isn't just other people. We are part of that as well. Now, besides the Botox and the bus fare, Capital One Bank in California has apparently filed a suit against Kaitlin as well. In fact, that suit was pending just 2 weeks before Mo Wilson's death. It makes you wonder, did that have anything to do with Mo Wilson's death? Bearing in mind, in the Chris Watts case, there was also a legal motion or a legal suit from the Homeowners Association, right, within a week or two of Shanann's death. Now, an investment firm also appears to have filed a suit against Kaitlin, but it's not clear if both suits are related. They are both based in California. It could be credit card debt that Kaitlin owes, and given that we know the credit card she gave out when she had her Botox done was declined because it was maxed out, I think this is definitely possible. But why is it that she doesn't seem to have any money? And is this a correct impression? Now, I think in terms of the bus fare, I think it's useful to think in a kind of a lateral way as well. It may not have been that she wanted to skimp in paying for it. It may also have been that she didn't want to leave digital footprints for where she was going. Now, I don't know whether Costa Rica is the sort of place where you would likely have paid with a card or something like that. I know that's the case in very sophisticated countries like the Netherlands, where you buy travel cards. But one would imagine that would leave behind a digital footprint, and if it's charged to a credit card or something like that, or some kind of banking system, then one could trace her movement. So it could have been that she didn't want her movements to be traced. It could also be that she'd already committed perhaps a big crime in America. Well, what's the harm in committing a small little crime in Costa Rica, right? That might have been the psychology. But within this context, one has got to wonder, what is the relevance of Strickland's $450,000 in investment capital? Again, not only where did he get it from, but what did Kaitlin do with it? And additionally, when did Strickland ask for it back? I think that's quite a critical question. Did Strickland ask for the money back before or after his encounter with Mo, before or after the 11th of May? If it was before, Kaitlin may have interpreted Strickland as having a change of heart about her and Mo being the cause. And what if she couldn't pay the $450,000 back? Maybe she would have felt desperate and also wanting to prevent being forced to pay it back as well. So if Kaitlin was in deep financial doo-doo, did she take it out on Mo? Intertextually, it's interesting how large amounts of cash play into the fabric of other cases within the pressing concerns of moneylessness. Think about the Watts case, where on the one hand they are housebroke, while on the other they are thriving, certainly in public, and the house itself is worth almost $500,000. Even in the Gabby Petito case, where they have no money, Brian seems to have $20,000 waiting in the wings somewhere. So you kind of have this impression over and over again of these fairy tales playing out, but actually there's no money to pay for them, just the promise of money, and a promise that turns out to be unfulfilled. It's an unfulfilled promise. And then what follows that? Well, assets change hands, cars, homes, and someone dies. Hopefully when Kaitlin makes her next appearance, the discoveries surrounding this case will as well. I think another question that we see coming up again and again, whether it's with Kaitlin, Mo Wilson and Colin Strickland, or Shanann Watts, Nicole Kessinger and Chris Watts, or Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito, is, can you dream up a fairy tale, and then when the fairy tale is no longer a fairy tale, when you realize, well, this isn't a fairy tale, are you able to recover from that? Or are you all in? Are you in a fairy tale, and once you're in it, there's no coming out of it again? Right? Are you able to deal with the reality on the other side of the fairy tale? And that's not just a question that we've got to ask these particular individuals. It's a question we've got to ask ourselves. We are living in a fairy tale right now where our world is changing around us. The temperature, the health of our world is changing. Just health in general is something we've got to deal with. Are we able to deal with reality or not? And is social media helping us in that equation? Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.